1865, emancipation freed black people to work for wages in the fields where they were, or to raise crops on their own land. And at times they found the freedom to practice unique talents. After Juneteenth, many families joined communities like Kinchinville, founded in southwest Travis County by Thomas W. Kinchin. Though it is known as a freedmen colony, of course women and other families were welcome too. By 1952, parts of the country community were sold off, and what was Kinchinville is today a prospering commercial and residential landscape just beyond the Austin city limits. All that remains from the past are a few dedicated street names. A founding church continues to hold its ground, and there's a nearby active cemetery where monuments like this harken back to black patterns of settlement. Several generations later, many people of color are leaving Austin. Totally new landscapes appear in the old places we used to call home. And the growing development pressure in southeast Travis County has placed a black antebellum farm in the crosshairs of highway expansion. Displacement is the name of this tune, a long-playing record in Austin, Texas, and gentrification is the cause. Ruth Glass was a 20th century sociologist who coined the word while studying some communities in London, England, where poor folks were supplanted by wealthier gentry folks. Glass observed that once gentrification begins, it's hard to stop. Austin is among the fastest growing big cities in the country. Founded in 1839, the population has doubled every 20-odd years. The city and all of Central Texas are booming with new residents, including nearby Bastrop, Texas. Doc Jackson has been a civic leader for decades, an African-American political pioneer. He's seen the change from inside and out.
Well, I grew up going to East Austin quite often when I was a child, because before we got our local grocery store chain in Bastrop, we'd started off at Go Valley, and then we went further east, and we went into doing a lot of our shopping there. 6th Street, when I was growing up, was just a mecca. Of course, 6th Street has changed tremendously. East Austin has changed, and the gentrification of it all has, it's just that people I think, are being forced out of living in their neighborhoods.
Jackson's family has lived in Bastrop for 5 generations, an embraceable heritage. Alongside the family's teachers and preachers, his great-grandfather was a black merchant on Main Street.
It was kind of instilled in me early on to try to give back to the community, and that's what I've tried to do. We have this little motto a lot of times that we say, you're either at the table or you're on the menu. And we had been on the menu for many years, and I felt it was time for us to be at the table.
Despite ample deviation, early African-American experience routinely dwelled on bondage, perhaps working in the fields, or perhaps as a domestic servant. But freedom did not come easy. There was a civil war, and there was an Emancipation Proclamation, and that got us Juneteenth in Texas. General Order No. 3 laid the early ground rules for freedom, and ostensibly, the Reconstruction Amendments gave license for a black nation within a nation to work for wages, freely travel, and own property. And by dint of the franchise, black voters elected prominent men to positions in government. They participated in the Texas House, the Senate, and Constitutional Conventions in 1866, 68, and 1875.